A gecko runs across a wall, then it stops on glass. Its feet hold. No glue, no claws digging in, no suction cups. The surface may be almost perfectly smooth, yet the animal does not fall. For centuries, this looked mysterious. People guessed suction, sticky liquid, tiny hooks, or static electricity. But gecko feet are stranger and more precise than that. Under a microscope, each toe pad is covered with rows of tiny hairs called setae. Each seta branches into even smaller structures, often ending in flattened tips called spatulae. These tips are extremely small enough to get very close to the surface. At that distance, weak molecular attractions become important. These are van der Waals forces. A single van der Waals interaction is tiny. It is far too weak to hold up an animal. But a gecko foot has millions of contact points. Together, these weak forces add up to a powerful grip. The key is not stickiness in the ordinary sense. There is no wet glue that must dry. There is no suction chamber that needs air pressure. A gecko can grip even on surfaces where suction would not explain the effect. The foot works because its microscopic structure creates enormous real contact area with the surface. But contact alone is not enough. The hairs must be angled correctly. A gecko attaches its foot by dragging or pressing the hairs so the tiny tips lie against the surface. It detaches by changing the angle, peeling the hairs away with very little effort. This is why geckos can run quickly. They do not need to pull each foot off like tape. They switch adhesion on and off mechanically. Humidity can also affect the grip. A thin layer of water molecules can change how the tiny structures interact with the surface. In some conditions, it may strengthen adhesion. The gecko's foot is therefore not a simple sticky pad. It is a directional, controllable adhesive system. Scientists have tried to copy it to make dry adhesives, materials that can stick without glue, release without residue, and work many times. But artificial versions are difficult. They must be strong, reversible, clean, flexible, and resistant to contamination. The common misconception is that geckos stick because their feet are wet or covered with glue. They are not. Their power comes from structure. Millions of microscopic hairs divide the foot into countless tiny contacts. Each contact is weak. Together, they become strong. The gecko climbs because nature solved adhesion by going small, not one big force. Millions of tiny ones. And when the animal lifts its foot, it does not fight the whole wall. It simply changes the angle, peels the contact away, and walks on.